How do people who've suffered a stroke learn to speak again? How can children with cerebral palsy be taught to communicate through speech? These are examples of the important work done by speech therapists, and all this week a group of speech therapy students from Norwich are going around the area raising awareness into the conditions that they can help with and the methods they use. It's called Giving Voice, and with me to tell us more are UEA students Becky Muggeridge, Gemma Wallington and Abby Phillip. Welcome all three of you into the studio.
Hi.
Lovely to see you, and taking part in this Giving Voice. But you're all, I know, third year UEA students. So Becky, tell us, what is speech therapy?
So speech therapy is about helping individuals, as you said, with communication and or swallowing difficulties as a result of conditions such as stroke, cerebral palsy, brain injury and things like that. So speech therapy is about helping support them as well as their carers or professionals such as teachers to communicate effectively and support them as best we can.
Abby, do you think it's an underrated part of the medical armoury?
Yeah, because often people don't know what speech therapy is, or they have misconceptions, like they think we just do elocution lessons or things like that. They're not really aware of all the client groups that we work with. It's such a wide-ranging group, and we help those with communication and swallowing difficulties, and often people don't know that.
And it is, I know, Gemma, a lot of different conditions as well. So it's a very wide-ranging discipline, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We can work with newborn babies up to people at the end of life. So we work across many, many different client groups, really.
Well, tell me about this event then, Becky, because I think there is something nationally going on with this, but you've chosen to run with it. You've got your own society in Norwich, haven't you?
Yeah, so we're from the UEA SLT Society, and throughout the year we run campaigning and awareness events, specifically the Giving Voice campaign, which is a national campaign set up by the Royal College of Speech and Language Therapists, who aim to raise awareness of speech, language and communication difficulties, and also about promoting the work of speech and language therapists and how vital we are in the funding that's needed to continue running our profession with the NHS.
So how do you go about demonstrating to people what you do? Because I think you've got one or two little tricks up your sleeve with this, haven't you?
Yeah, so this week we're running events across our campus at UEA. We're running things. Today we had a Hats for Headway day where everybody came in a winter's hat or something Christmassy, and we all paid £1 donation to raise awareness of people who have suffered a brain injury and the speech and language difficulties associated with it. Tomorrow we're running a flash mob in our on the square at UEA. We're all getting involved in a dance to raise awareness of the campaign. And on Friday we're organising a dysphagia stall, so we're doing thickened trials and pureed food for people in the hive, as well as offering people a chance to order a drink in an alternative form of communication. So we've got Big Macs, which are buttons that you press and it's got a pre-recorded voice on it. We've got symbols and pictures. So just encouraging people to get involved really with, what you would do if you had lost your voice, as you said, or and how it can impact on everyday life. So events like that, really.
I mean, Abby, what is this thickened food? I mean, is it to demonstrate what it's like when you haven't got a voice? Is that what you're doing, to demonstrate to people what it would be like?
Sometimes when people have swallowing difficulties, they cannot manage a normal diet. It's too hard for them, so they might have a modified diet, and usually that may be something thicker because it's easier for it to go down. So they can have thickened drinks. So they put some powder into their drinks and stir it up, and that gets it a better consistency. Or a modified diet, for example, they can have puree, a fork mashable, or something thicker like custard, and that really helps it go down better. Yes.
But Gemma, what about the techniques for teaching people who've had, say, a stroke, as we talked about earlier, or people with motor neurone disease or Parkinson's? Well, obviously it's not straightforward, but what techniques are used to bring people's speech back in those terrible circumstances?
Speech, not swallowing, we're talking about.
Yes.
Yes. So things like following a stroke, we also work with language as well as speech. So following a stroke, people may have language impairments, so it's trying to reconnect the brain where it may have been broken, so to speak, from the stroke. So reconnect the pathways in the brain to make it so that they can find the words again, because we have something called aphasia following a stroke. That means that people can't quite find the words that they're looking for, so they'll use drawing and pictures and techniques of ways they can work around the word or try and find the word. And then with children it gets a bit more fun. You may be playing games and things to like help their speech if they've got a speech delay or a disorder, playing games to try and bring it up to where it should be.
Because with adults, they'll know in their heads
It can be really
how to speak,
frustrating.
and they just can't get the words out.
I think it is one of the hardest things to see when you see someone who knows exactly what they want to say, but just can't find the word, or the wrong word comes out, and you can see the frustration. And that's what we really aim to do, is to try and stop that from happening.
Is that part of the training, to try and dampen that frustration down and tell people, give them encouragement? I suppose that's a crucial thing, Becky, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's about giving people options and sort of compensatory strategies for what they might have lost, and finding a way that enables them to communicate, maybe not as effectively as they did before, but so that they can still communicate as they would have done with their family and their friends. And as Gemma said, it's about sort of connecting the pathways on one hand, but as well it's about adapting the environment and people's perceptions about what speech and language impairments are and how they can help. So being in quieter environments, adapting that, or give people time and maybe sit nearer to them so that they can see lip reading and things like that if they have a hearing impairment. So it's about lots of different things and giving people opportunities and means of communicating.
Is Norwich an important centre for training speech therapists like you three?
Yep.
Yeah.
So UEA is the main centre that you can train as a speech and language therapist.
So we're a centre for it in Norwich. That's fantastic. And how did you get into this then? How did you want to be? I mean, were you quite young when you knew you wanted to be a speech therapist?
I was at that kind of GCSE A-level stage, struggling to know what to do, but I always knew I wanted to work in healthcare, and speech therapy was something, when I explored into, it fitted my interests, and I like that I can work with a variety of client groups and help people in a really beneficial way.
And what's the career path, Gemma? Is it to work for the NHS, or are there other options?
There are other options. So there are many jobs in the NHS, working in hospitals, working in schools, but there are also private jobs as well, especially working with children. So it can go anywhere, really. There are a lot of options.
Well, good luck to you with this Giving Voice campaign. And is there a website people can look at and find out more about the work of speech therapy? Because you've got the society at the UEA, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got our own society website, www.ueasltsociety.com. And there's also the Giving Voice campaign website that they have online, as well as the Royal College of Speech and Language Therapists. We've also just set up a Just Giving page for our Pureed Diet Challenge that we're doing this week. So we're basically eating pureed meals for as long as possible, raising money for Parkinson's UK.
We've raised almost £300 already, so it's going really well.
But how are you coping with just pureed meals?
We had to have a quick smoothie on the way out because we were feeling a bit
Before we
hungry.
came in.
Well, we haven't got any here, sadly, but I'm sure our producer could whiz you up something out there if you say, no, I don't know the recipe. Well, thank you very much, all three of you, for enlightening us on speech therapy. It's something we've all heard of before, and it's something that if someone requires a speech therapist, then, Becky, you get referred by your GP or by hospital, is that right?
That's normal. Normally the sort of routine, or through schools, a teacher maybe, if they had a concern, would go to the local speech therapist if there was one in school, or as you say, through GP referral or through hospital admission, and then a speech therapist is usually there to see someone with a stroke or a brain injury.
Well, we wish you well with the rest of your course. This is third year, so this is the important year, isn't it? UEA students, Becky, Gemma and Abby, thank you all three for joining us.